A $425 designer flat and a $95 comfort shoe can look like they belong in completely different worlds. But once you stop looking at the logo and start looking at the leather, the lining, the sole, the stitching, and how long the shoe actually lasts, the cheaper pair can sometimes be the better deal by a mile. That is the problem with women's shoes. The price tag often tells you less about quality than the marketing does. A brand can charge luxury money for a shoe that uses thin leather, synthetic lining, glued construction, and almost no real support, as long as the shape is trendy and the logo is recognizable. And because shoes are tied to outfits, status, weddings, offices, dates, vacations, and first impressions, brands know they are not just selling footwear. They are selling the feeling of being polished, expensive, and put together. But that feeling can get very costly. So, in this breakdown, we are not judging shoes by whether they are cheap or expensive. We are judging whether they earn their price. A shoe earns its price through better materials, stronger construction, real comfort, useful design, repairability, durability, and a lower cost per wear. If a pair costs $180, but you wear it 100 times, that is $1.80 per wear. If a pair costs $80 but hurts after 3 outings, that bargain suddenly looks pretty fake. And once you use that standard, some very popular women's shoe brands start looking a lot harder to defend. Let's start with Steve Madden, because this is one of the clearest examples of trend pricing dressed up as value. The brand is very good at reacting quickly to what is popular. Platform sandals, pointed boots, designer-inspired heels, chunky loafers, metallic flats, whatever is moving on social media. But many pairs rely heavily on synthetic materials, thin uppers, glued soles, and construction that feels closer to fast fashion than long-term footwear. The problem is not that Steve Madden exists. The problem is when a plastic-heavy trend shoe gets priced close to brands that offer better leather, better comfort, and better wear life. Then there is Sam Edelman, which is trickier because the brand can make genuinely attractive shoes. Some styles look polished, wearable, and more expensive than they are. But look closely at the product details. You will often see leather uppers paired with synthetic linings, basic outsoles, and construction that does not always match the retail price. That does not make every pair bad, but it does mean the shopper has to be careful. If the inside of the shoe is synthetic, the sole is glued, and the comfort is average, then the brand name is doing too much of the work. Michael Kors footwear is another one to question. A lot of the price comes from the Fashion House Association and the visible branding. The logo can make a sneaker, sandal, or flat feel more premium at first glance, but many pieces sit in that dangerous middle zone. Not cheap enough to be disposable, not well made enough to feel truly luxury. With brands like this, you have to ask a blunt question. If the gold letters disappeared from the shoe, would the materials and construction still justify the price? Tory Burch has a similar issue, especially with logo-heavy flats, sandals, and simple slip-ons. The designs can be classic, and some buyers genuinely love them. But the famous medallion logo can push fairly simple shoes into a price range where you should expect serious comfort and durability. A flat that costs luxury-adjacent money should not feel flimsy, rub your heel raw, or wear down quickly after normal walking. If the most expensive-looking part of the shoe is the logo hardware, that is a warning sign. Now we get into the higher-price brands, starting with Stuart Weitzman. This one is not a simple avoid-at-all-costs brand, because some of the designs are elegant and the brand has made iconic boots and heels. But the prices are high enough that the standards have to be high too. At that level, every detail matters. leather quality, lining, balance, heel stability, comfort, and how well the shoe holds shape over time. If a pair costs several $100s and still feels like an occasion-only shoe you can barely walk in, then the price is being carried more by the name than the performance. Christian Louboutin may be the most famous example of status-beating comfort. The red sole is instantly recognizable, and that is exactly what people are paying for. But many buyers know the trade-off. Beautiful shoe, painful experience. A heel can be art, and if someone wants it purely for the image, that is their choice. But from a consumer value standpoint, a shoe that costs luxury money and cannot comfortably survive a real evening is not a smart buy. It is a status object that happens to go on your foot. Then there is Golden Goose, where the value question becomes almost absurd. These sneakers are famous for looking worn in before you ever wear them. The brand sells distressing, styling, and scarcity. But when a sneaker costs hundreds of dollars and part of the appeal is that it already looks damaged, the buyer needs to be honest about what they are purchasing. Is it superior comfort, superior materials, superior durability, or is it the permission to look casual in a very expensive way? Balenciaga sneakers push that same idea even further. The designs are bold, recognizable, and trend-driving, but the prices are often disconnected from practical footwear value. Oversized soles, extreme shapes, and runway branding can make a shoe feel important in the moment, but trends turn fast. A $900 sneaker that looks outdated in 2 years has a brutal cost per wear unless you truly love it beyond the hype. And finally, Gucci shoes. Gucci has real design history, and some pieces hold resale value better than ordinary brands. But the entry-level sneakers, slides, loafers, and logo-heavy styles can carry enormous badge premiums. That means you are often paying for recognition before construction. If the shoe is beautifully made, comfortable, and something you will wear for years, fine. But if it is mainly a canvas for the stripe, the monogram, or the horse bit, the logo may be doing more work than the leather. The pattern is clear. The more a shoe depends on being recognized, the more carefully you need to inspect what is actually touching your foot. So what does a women's shoe actually need to be worth the money? The first clue is material. Full-grain leather, which is the stronger outer layer of the hide, usually ages better than thin, coated, or corrected leather. It can soften, crease naturally, and develop character instead of peeling like plastic. Suede can also be excellent when it is dense and well finished, but cheap suede can stain, flatten, and look tired very quickly. The lining matters too, even though most people barely look at it. A leather lining usually breathes better and molds to the foot over time. A synthetic lining can trap heat, rub more, and start breaking down inside the shoe before the outside looks old. That is why leather upper is not the whole story. A brand can advertise leather on the outside while hiding cheaper materials where your foot actually sits. Construction is the next test. Many women's shoes are glued together, and glue is not automatically bad. Plenty of comfortable shoes use cemented construction. But if the price is high and the sole cannot be repaired, replaced, or reinforced, the shoe has a built-in expiration date. A stitched sole, a replaceable heel cap, or a construction method that allows repair can turn one purchase into years of wear instead of one season. Comfort is not a bonus feature. It is part of the value. Look for a stable heel counter, which is the firm piece around the back of the shoe that helps hold your heel in place. Check whether the footbed has cushioning or support, especially under the ball of the foot. Pay attention to arch structure, toe box shape, and whether the shoe bends where your foot naturally bends. If a brand expects you to break in pain, that is often just a polite way of saying the design is not working for your foot. The outsole tells a story too. A smooth leather sole may look elegant, but it can be slippery and wear fast if it is not meant for your lifestyle. Rubber, lug, or mixed outsoles may be less glamorous, but they can give better traction and longer wear. For everyday shoes, that matters more than a shiny product photo. And this is where cost per wear becomes the real judge. A $220 boot worn twice a week for 3 years is not expensive in the same way as a $90 heel that survives one wedding and then lives in the back of your closet. The smart buy is not always the cheapest pair. It is the pair that still feels good, still looks good, and still makes sense after the first month. So before we praise any brand, that is the standard. Not hype, not logos, not celebrity styling. Just shoes that earn their place in your closet. Now for the brands that are much easier to defend, starting with Naturalizer. This is not the flashiest name in women's shoes, and that is partly the point. Naturalizer focuses on shoes people actually have to live in. Work flats, pumps, loafers, sandals, boots, and everyday sneakers. The value is in the comfort engineering, the wider size options, and the fact that many styles are made for real walking instead of just standing still for a photo. If you have ever bought a beautiful pair of shoes that punished you by lunchtime, Naturalizer starts to look a lot smarter. Clark's is another brand that often makes sense, especially when bought on sale. The company has a long comfort reputation, and while not every style is exciting, many of the casual shoes, boots, and work-friendly pairs are built around wearability first. The better Clark's styles tend to give you reasonable leather, supportive soles, and designs that do not expire the second a microtrend changes. That is not glamorous, but glamour is not very useful when your feet hurt after 20 minutes. Then there is Vionic, which is one of the strongest options for women who need real arch support. Vionic built much of its reputation around podiatrist-oriented design, meaning the shoes are shaped with foot mechanics in mind instead of just appearance. That does not mean every pair will work for every foot, but if you need support and still want something that looks normal with jeans, dresses, or office clothes, Vionic is worth checking before paying more for a prettier but less functional brand. Ecco deserves attention for a different reason: materials and durability. The brand often uses good leather, practical comfort technology, and sturdy everyday construction. Ecco shoes usually do not scream for attention, but they are built for people who walk, commute, travel, and repeat outfits in real life. That is where value shows up. A shoe does not need a giant logo if it still looks decent after heavy use. Haan is a bit more conditional, but it can be a very smart buy, especially at sale prices. At full retail, you still need to inspect the materials and construction. But when discounted, Haan often hits a useful middle ground: dress shoes, loafers, flats, and sneakers that look polished while borrowing comfort ideas from athletic footwear. For women who need office shoes that do not feel like punishment, this can be a better use of money than a more fashionable brand with less support. Thursday, Boot Company's women's line is worth considering for buyers who want leather boots without paying designer prices. The appeal is relatively straightforward: classic styling, leather-focused construction, and fewer distracting logos. The brand is not perfect, and sizing can still take trial and error, but the value argument is clearer than with many fashion boots. You are paying for a boot that is supposed to be worn hard, not just photographed once with a coat. And finally, Sarah Flint. This is the expensive recommendation, so it needs to earn its spot. Sarah Flint is not cheap, but the brand makes a stronger case than many luxury labels because it focuses on Italian manufacturing, classic shapes, and comfort details like better arch support, wider toe boxes in certain styles, and thoughtful padding. If someone wants a refined, flat, pump, or sandal and is willing to spend more, this is closer to paying for design and wearability than simply paying for a logo. The lesson is not that these 7 brands are perfect. The lesson is that their prices are easier to connect to something real: support, leather, durability, repair-minded design, or shoes you can actually wear again and again. Here is the simple checklist before you buy another pair of women's shoes. First, ask what you are actually paying for. Is it leather, construction, comfort, support, and durability? Or is it mainly a logo on the toe, a metal emblem on the front, or a designer name on the insole? A brand is allowed to charge for design, but the shoe still has to function as a shoe. Second, read the material description carefully. Leather upper does not mean the whole shoe is leather. Check the lining, the sole, and the footbed. If a brand is charging premium prices but hiding behind vague phrases like man-made materials, that is a sign to slow down. Third, look at the reviews like a detective. Do people mention peeling, squeaking, painful rubbing, weak soles, broken straps, or heels wearing down quickly? One bad review means nothing. But when the same complaint appears again and again, that is not bad luck. That is a pattern. Fourth, ask whether the shoe fits your real life. Can you wear it with at least 5 outfits? Can you walk in it for more than 30 minutes? Does it match the weather, the commute, the office, the event, or the amount of standing you actually do? A shoe that only works in your imagination is usually not a good investment. Fifth, calculate cost per wear. A $250 pair worn 100 times costs $2.50 each time. A $75 pair worn twice because it hurts costs $37.50 each time. That is how cheap shoes become expensive and expensive shoes become reasonable. And finally, use the logo test. If the badge disappeared, would you still want the shoe? Would the leather still impress you? Would the shape still feel useful? Would the comfort still justify the price? If the answer is no, you are probably paying for recognition, not quality. The real ripoff is not an expensive shoe. The real ripoff is an expensive shoe that performs like a cheap one. A good pair should earn its place every time you wear it, whether it costs $80 or $800. So now I want to know, which women's shoe brand disappointed you the most and which one actually held up better than expected?